Yes, I am still using my iPod Classic 160 GB, which I purchased in 2007, and doing it on a daily basis. And yes, it still works great. A few years ago, the click wheel got detached on one side. After a few failed attempts to repair it, I just stuck some clear tape over it, and since then it hasn't made any more trouble. The battery has degraded significantly over the years, and while back in the end of the 2000s I was able to charge it once every few weeks, today, still using it on a daily basis like before, I need to charge it once every few days. I roughly assess that the battery is operating today at around 30 to 40% of its initial capacity. Let me now go over why I initially purchased it back in 2007 and why I still use it today. So initially I was looking for a large capacity player for my huge MP3 library. These days my library contains 37,682 songs. Back then I estimate it contained around 28,000 songs. But I obviously needed room to grow. Scholars of technology sometimes try to suggest reasons why certain high-tech companies are so successful, and the case of Apple has received lots of interpretations. Galloway believes that Apple sells luxury, while Zuboff thinks it makes very good user-oriented products. In my case, it seems Zuboff was correct, since I was just looking for a large capacity MP3 player that would replace the small capacity players I was working with up to then. I wanted something I could put my whole library on. And when Apple came out with a 160 GB player, it was the only one that offered such capacity. I wasn't looking for luxury or a slick and minimalist look, and this was my first Apple product. Once I started to work with my iPod, I was very pleased. My library fit into it, and working with iTunes was at first time intensive, but later on easy and fun. The shuffle function, which is one of the functions Apple cleverly revamped, helped me get to know better my own existing music library by getting the chance to hear randomly played songs. How did Apple revamp the shuffle? It seems so intuitive today, but it did so by first allowing you to shuffle your entire library, or parts of it, as you please, and second by creating a shuffle that didn't repeat a song that was already played in a session. Most players at the time just randomly selected a song, no matter if it played it a few minutes ago. The end result was that among the many less known songs on the albums I had, there were many hidden gems, which I got to know thanks to the shuffle. The songs themselves I never purchased using the iTunes Store. I prefer to purchase songs from websites that give most of the earnings to the artists themselves and aren't insanely profitable corporations that nevertheless don't like to pay taxes. I also prefer not to consume my music using platforms that pay minute fractions of their earnings to artists, such as Spotify and the like. This may require a few more moments to insert a new album into my library, but at least I feel I'm supporting the artist. A few years down the road, I met another challenge. As my library grew larger, I found it hard to limit myself to the 160 GB capacity of the device. I coped with this by doing something that audiophiles will probably think is a crime. I downgraded my entire library to a 128 kilobit per second quality in order to save space. I did so after comparing several songs in different qualities, and I truly couldn't hear the difference. Another thing I did, and the shuffle also helped me in that, is to delete songs I really didn't like. As of now, I can still fit my entire music library into my iPod, which is great. Yet while capacity is great, as I mentioned earlier, the battery time is down significantly. It is inconvenient to charge the iPod so much, and these days when the battery indicator is red, it usually dies on me after just a few minutes. So why do I stay with it? There are several reasons. First, replacing it with an Apple product like the newer iPod versions they offered up until recently, or simply an iPhone, would be expensive. Apple charges such a high premium for its high-capacity products that it is hardly worthwhile. Thus, despite this being the easiest transition in my case, it bothers me to pay this premium. Second, replacing my iPod with a non-Apple product is much less seamless, especially when it comes to synchronizing my library on my PC. I would need to use a new app for my music, which takes getting used to. Third, and most importantly, no matter if I opt for an Apple or a non-Apple product, at the storage capacity I want, it will come with all the built-in surveillance functions that these products have integrated, like Wi-Fi, GPS, a cellular connection, and the like. My faithful iPod was produced before smartphones became truly popular and before behavioral surplus business models were all the rage. And it has none of these surveillance features. It is just a player. It serves me instead of me serving the companies that want my data. Apple may collect data about my music library even now, but at least it doesn't know where I am each second I listen to it. So for now, I am still sticking to my iPod. This is not fetishism. I'm not emotionally attached to it. And it's not that I like to show people I'm old school or something. It's just the best solution I have found. I guess it doesn't pay for corporations to settle for making a good high-capacity player that just plays songs, without selling you the songs on the way and selling your data to the highest bidder. Fortunately for me, 15 years ago, it did pay.